Have you noticed that a lot of posts on social media and reporting is starting to come out that LeBron James may consider retiring after this season, and he never wanted a retirement farewell tour? Even if he comes back for next season, he doesn't want a farewell tour.
LeBron James may be getting closer to the end than people want to admit. And the strangest part is not that retirement rumors are floating around. The strangest part is that the biggest player of this era, the guy who has spent 2 decades controlling the spotlight, suddenly does not want the one thing legends usually chase at the end, the farewell tour. That should make people stop right there, because for most all-time greats, that final season becomes a rolling celebration. Every road arena turns into a tribute stop. Every broadcast turns emotional. Every opposing fan base, even the ones that hated you for years, takes a second to appreciate what they are watching for the last time. But now the reports are coming out that LeBron does not want any of that. No goodbye lap, no final bows, no nightly ceremonies, no carefully packaged send-off. And once you really think about it, that decision says more about his legacy than a lot of people are willing to admit.
The day I can't give the game everything on the floor is the day I'll be done.
Because this is not just some random role player deciding he wants to leave quietly. This is LeBron James, a player who has always understood spectacle, a player who has always understood presentation, a player who has always known how to turn basketball into theater, into branding, into message control, into event television. This is the same guy who made The Decision one of the most infamous media moments in sports history. The same guy who turned his move to Miami into a show. The same guy who has spent years shaping every chapter of his career with almost corporate precision. So when that guy suddenly wants no farewell tour, the first thing you should ask is not whether he is being humble. The first thing you should ask is what exactly he is trying to avoid. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Farewell tours are not really about retirement. They are about public approval. They are about letting the basketball world respond to your legacy in real time. If the love is universal, that tour becomes beautiful. If the respect is overwhelming, it turns into history. But if the room is divided, if the feelings are mixed, if the resentment is still too strong, then that same farewell tour can become something else entirely. It can become a stress test. It can become a referendum. It can become a nightly reminder that greatness and popularity are not the same thing. And that is exactly why the LeBron conversation feels so different.
What do you say about LeBron going to the Knicks for his farewell tour?
Do you think the Knicks will want that?
Yes.
Oh man, I mean, I think yeah, you're probably right. They probably will.
What a
want that,
crazy
especially
thing
if they
to
don't
ask.
win this
What
year.
a crazy thing
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
asked.
The reports are being framed in the softest way possible. Some media voices are acting like LeBron is just above all the attention, like he does not want the fuss, like he would rather focus on the game than on himself. But that explanation does not fit the player we have watched for 20+ years. LeBron has never been afraid of attention. He has rarely turned it down. He has built an empire around being seen, discussed, dissected, promoted, and positioned. So when people act like this is suddenly some modest, low-profile choice, it feels fake. It feels like a clean, public version of a messier truth. And the messier truth might be that LeBron knows a farewell tour would not look the way he wants it to look. That is where the study comes in, and whether people like the framing or not, it matters because it reflects perception. According to the research that got circulated, social media sentiment across the country painted LeBron as the most hated NBA player in 24 states. Not one of the most polarizing, not among the most disliked, the most hated. And even if you want to argue about the methodology or whether social media is the best mirror of reality, the broader point still lands. LeBron has spent years building one of the most accomplished careers the sport has ever seen, yet somehow he still inspires a level of hostility that most all-time greats did not carry at this scale. That is the real issue. Not just that some fans prefer Jordan, not just that some people are tired of the media coverage, but that the emotional reaction to LeBron in a lot of places is not respectful dislike, it is active exhaustion, it is eye-rolling, It is resentment. It is the feeling that people are ready for the whole thing to be over.
Describing, how long he thought he was going to play when he moved on to the Lakers, and then a short answer about the farewell tour that he's not even thought about it, which means he's not sure because he never discussed the actual ending of his career with the family.
This is where it gets dangerous, because a farewell tour amplifies exactly that. It puts all of those feelings on the biggest possible stage. Every arena becomes a test. Every fan base gets a chance to answer the question, how do you really feel about this guy? And with LeBron, that answer would not be clean. In some places, he would get love, no doubt. In Los Angeles, there would be appreciation for the championship and the showmanship. In Cleveland, there would absolutely be emotion because 2016 means everything there. That title changed the city forever. But even Cleveland would not be purely sentimental. There are still scars there. There are still fans who remember how he left the first time. There are still people who never fully bought into the idea that he was one of them in the way they wanted him to be. That is what makes this conversation so uncomfortable. Even his best basketball homes come with an asterisk.
This is from a source that's very close to LeBron James and usually very, very positive. It says LeBron James has directly told sources close to him that he doesn't want a retirement tour.
And then think about the rest of the league. Boston is not giving LeBron some warm hug. They would boo him like it was Game 7. You think fans in places that spent years mocking him are suddenly going to go gentle because it's his final season? No chance. Some would show respect, sure, but others would absolutely treat it like a celebration that the era is ending. Social media would make it worse. Every negative sign, every chant, every cold crowd reaction would turn into clips, memes, edits, debate segments, think pieces. It would not stay inside the arena. It would become the story. Instead of "thank you, LeBron," the narrative could quickly turn into, "wow, the league really doesn't love him the way people assumed." That is not a risk a player like LeBron takes lightly. Here's the part nobody's talking about. The reason farewell tours work for certain legends is because their myth is emotionally secure. Michael Jordan had that. Kobe Bryant had that. Dirk had that. Dwyane Wade had that in his own way. With those guys, the fan experience at the end became bigger than rivalry. Fans wanted to witness the last chapter. They wanted to say they were there. Jordan's final Bulls run carried this massive cultural gravity. Kobe's farewell became one giant emotional release, and then he caps it with 60 in the final game like a movie script. That is what a farewell tour is supposed to feel like. It is not just a schedule, it is a coronation of memory. It is the sport deciding that whatever beef it had with you, this is the moment to appreciate the totality.
Why I think LeBron James would want to forego a retirement tour, a farewell tour like Michael Jordan had, like Kobe Bryant had. And this should kind of explain it to you a lot.
LeBron is different because the totality of his career has always come with arguments attached. Every achievement is followed by a comparison. Every moment gets split into camps. His rings are measured against Jordan's. His finals losses get weaponized. His team changes get questioned. His statements off the court get picked apart. His relationships with coaches and teammates have fueled years of narratives about control and influence. Some of that criticism is unfair. Some of it is exaggerated. Some of it is clearly driven by agenda. But when enough of it piles up over 2 decades, perception hardens. And perception is exactly what a farewell tour exposes.
This is where young players usually make a mistake. They think if they become great enough, the public will eventually love them anyway. That is not how it works. Greatness gets you attention. It does not guarantee affection. LeBron's career is proof of that. He has done almost everything a player can do. Titles, MVPs, finals runs, longevity records, scoring record, Olympic gold, global fame, business success, playing with his son, surviving multiple eras of the league. On paper, this should be one of the easiest farewell tours in sports history to sell. The problem is that legacy is not judged only on paper. It is judged in feeling. And LeBron has spent too much of his career making people feel something complicated. A big part of that is how often he has tried to shape the conversation himself. The GOAT debate matters here, whether people want it to or not. LeBron did not just become great, he positioned himself and was positioned by his camp and by media as the active challenger to Jordan's throne. That changes how people consume your ending. If Jordan is the gold standard in most fans' minds, then LeBron's farewell will inevitably be measured against Jordan's emotional weight. If Kobe's farewell felt raw and beloved, then LeBron's will be compared to that too. And once that comparison starts, he loses. Not because his career is weak, but because the public sentiment is not as clean. Jordan felt mythic. Kobe felt deeply personal. LeBron, for a lot of fans, feels argumentative. He feels like a debate first and a memory second. And that may be exactly why he would rather avoid the whole thing, not because he's afraid of retirement itself, but because he's afraid of what the response would say. A farewell tour is public feedback. It is an open book review written by every arena in the league. If LeBron already knows that a huge portion of fans are not going to give him the send-off he believes a GOAT should get, then why volunteer for that? Why walk into a season where every road game becomes a new chance for people to embarrass your narrative? Why let hostile crowds chip away at the image one last time? The smart play, if you care about control, is to skip the farewell tour entirely and frame it as dignity. This is where it gets dangerous, because once you skip the farewell tour, people start asking whether you skipped it out of wisdom or insecurity. And with LeBron, insecurity is the word his critics have always waited to use. They will say he knew the arenas wouldn't love him like Jordan. They will say he knew the applause would be mixed. They will say he did not want video evidence of what the country really feels. They will say the man who calls himself the greatest could not handle a final season that exposed how many people still reject that idea. Fair or unfair, that is exactly the kind of conclusion critics would draw. And the more carefully these "he doesn't want a farewell tour" reports get pushed into the media, the more it feels like preemptive image protection rather than a natural personal choice. The irony is that LeBron himself has basically admitted the end is not far. He joked about not playing another 23 years, not playing another 10, and being on the other side of the hump. That matters. It shows he knows the window is closing. He can still play at a high level, sure. Maybe another year, maybe a couple. But the idea that he hasn't thought seriously about the optics of the ending is hard to buy. This is too calculated a career for that, especially when you remember that he's already accomplished one of the biggest personal goals he had left, playing in the NBA with Bronny. That was a milestone moment. Once you clear a milestone like that, the next conversation naturally becomes what the exit looks like. And that exit matters more for LeBron than for almost anyone else, because his career has always been a battle over meaning. Jordan's career became almost untouchable in memory because the public settled into reverence. LeBron's career has never settled. It is still a fight. The stats say one thing, the emotion says another. The resume says one thing, the cultural response says another. He is so accomplished that people have to respect him, but so polarizing that many still refuse to love him. That tension is exactly why his retirement is going to be messy no matter what he chooses. If he takes the farewell tour, every arena reaction becomes evidence for one side or the other. If he skips it, the silence becomes evidence too.